Hey y'all! It's entry number 12 of this offseason series where we discuss a different player's fantasy value each day as a group. We are another day closer to the start of the 2022 NFL season. Each day we'll drop a name, go through some positives and some concerns of their fantasy profile, and then I'll give my personal opinion at the end. Today's discussion will be on Travis Etienne Jr., running back, Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll start with some of the positives of Travis Etienne's fantasy profile. To start, let's talk about how he's a dual threat. In his college career at Clemson, Travis Etienne showed that he's a very capable dual threat back. In 2019, he had 207 carries, 1,614 rushing yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, 37 receptions, 432 receiving yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. In 2020, he had 168 carries, 914 rushing yards, 14 rushing touchdowns, 48 receptions, 588 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. By being capable both on the ground and through the air, it raises Etienne's floor and ceiling. Familiarity with Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne was Trevor Lawrence's teammate at Clemson from 2018 to 2020, and they reunited in Jacksonville after both were selected in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. Having this chemistry between the two already built in may help Etienne have an easier time reaching his ceiling. Big play threat. During his college career, Travis Etienne proved that he was a major big play threat, as he had 16 touchdowns of 44 yards or more during his career at Clemson. According to 247 Sports, he had 23 runs of over 20-yard gains back in 2018, and in 2019 he had runs of 10-plus yards 22.7% of the time. He's a major threat to score every time he touches the ball, which makes him a more intriguing investment if you are chasing upside in your fantasy leagues. Moving on to the concerns with Travis Etienne. The first major concern is that Etienne is coming off a major injury. Travis Etienne missed the entire 2021 NFL season with a foot injury. While he should be ready to go for the 2022 NFL season, after a major injury like this, it'll be important to monitor his status closely throughout training camp and preseason to make sure he hasn't lost a step at all. The next concern with Travis Etienne's fantasy profile is Doug Peterson's past preference for a running back by committee. Over the course of his previous 8 seasons in an offensive coordinator or head coaching role, head coach Doug Peterson's lead back on the season has only seen 50% or more of the season tailback carries in 3 out of 8 of those seasons. Because of these past tendencies, if and when James Robinson gets back, there's a decent chance that this backfield is a little more split than fantasy players would like. The last major concern with Travis Etienne's fantasy profile is the Jaguars' 2021 offensive struggles. The Jacksonville Jaguars averaged just 305.4 total yards of offense per game, which was 27th in the NFL, and 14.9 points per game, which was the worst in the NFL during the 2021 NFL season. While it's a new year, and they should be improved, it's hard to ignore where they're starting from, and the possibility that there are not as many scoring opportunities for Etienne as there will be with other backs going around his average draft position. Some additional thoughts on Travis Etienne's fantasy profile. Offensive line. The Jacksonville Jaguars' offensive line ranked 24th in the league at the end of the 2021 NFL season, according to Pro Football Focus. They will be bringing back 4 of their 5 primary starters from the 2021 NFL season. James Robinson's return. James Robinson has totaled 404 carries, 1,837 rushing yards, and 15 rushing touchdowns on the ground, as well as 80 receptions on 106 targets for 566 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns through the air over the course of 28 career games. He suffered a nasty Achilles injury in December, so we'll have to see when he returns and how that potentially impacts Etienne's playing time. past inconsistency in pass protection. According to the Draft Network, during his college career, Etienne was inconsistent in pass protection. If Etienne struggles in pass protecting Trevor Lawrence, it could impact his snap count a little bit, especially when James Robinson returns. Trevor Lawrence's checkdown rate. Trevor Lawrence had 68 checkdown attempts on 668 dropbacks, or 11.3% during the 2021 season, according to a Pro Football Focus article by Sam Monson. This was the highest checkdown rate in the NFL, which could bode well for Travis Etienne in 2022. Personal opinion. Travis Etienne is currently going off the board as RB23, about pick 62 overall on ESPN, and RB24, about pick 59 overall on Yahoo. Health is a big question, but I'm buying at the current discount. I think his ADP will rise a bit when training camp and preseason swings around and people are able to see him playing and hopefully looking healthy. Personally, Etienne's a player I'm going to have in a lot of leagues if his ADP stays around the same range, because I think he has one of the highest ceilings that you can get out of a player outside the top 50 picks, because of his dual threat abilities and ability to take it to the house on any given play. Charitable Cause. I couldn't find a charitable cause or my Cause My Cleats for Travis Etienne. So, for today's entry, we will highlight his teammate James Robinson's My Cause My Cleats in 2021, which was for the American Cancer Society. And that's all for today's entry. If you have a player that you'd like to see covered in the video format of the A Player a Day series, drop a comment below.